I got the eye of a tiger, a fighter, dancing through the fire. I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Good morning. This is Rhonda Olson from Womanshine. Let your true power shine through and express the real you. Would you like to find the raw power in your voice? This morning, I'm going to share with you another tip from my book, Sovereign Woman. Use your body and your voice so that you can turn your pain into power. Last week, we looked at how do we harness how do we ground ourselves. So we had my little building blocks here. The red block is how do we ground ourselves, connect into the earth. Today, we're going to be looking at how do we harness the power in the lower belly. So this lower belly is an area where we hold a lot of our feelings. And it's like feelings are watery, and it's kind of like it floods out this whole area. And actually in our belly, we have a cauldron, a fire that's very powerful, a furnace deep in our belly. And what we want to do is have this water flowing like a river around this island of the furnace, rather than just sort of flooding out and swamping out our power. So I'm going to show you some little movements, first of all, to free up your pelvis, and then show you how, when we've got that space inside your pelvis, where we can find a way of breathing in here and harnessing the power in your belly. So I'm just going to come back a little bit so you can see me. So I'm sitting on a chair. So if you sit on a chair and feel your buttocks on the chair, and just to imagine that you've got a bowl of water in your pelvis, and you're just rocking your pelvis so the water tips forward, and then you're rocking the pelvis so the water tips back. You're rocking the pelvis so the water tips forward, and you're rocking the pelvis so the water tips back. And as you do this, as you come forward, let your arms come out as if you're saying ta-ta, and as you're coming back, keep looking forward, but like you're a turtle looking out of its shell and poking out your tongue. So you're breathing in, letting this opening out, and then and taking a breath down into your belly. So often we hold on to our feelings. We feel something and then it's not acceptable. We're not going to be liked, or we're going to get into trouble. So we hold on. We pull our belly in. If I pull my belly in, you can hear what happens to my voice. It's kind of gets stuck in my throat. So letting the belly go allows the breath and the space to be in your belly, so that you resonate through your lower belly. Okay, so let's now do another little movement, just shifting from one buttock to the other, and maybe placing your hands on your head. And as you go to one side, take the elbow and the hip closer together, and to the other side, taking the elbow and the hip closer together. So you're getting this nice movement of your pelvis in this direction, and making little sounds. And then sensing how you're sitting now. Has that changed? Do your sit bones feel like they're supporting you more? So what we're wanting for the voice is our skeleton to be the support, so that our muscles can move freely, and we're not using our muscles to strain and strive and hold ourselves up, which constricts the voice. Now let's do a little like a pelvic rock, going around one direction. In that little song, in my Golden Christ training, we had this little song, I heard it through the grapevine, la la do 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 do, dee 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 dee. So just any music that you've got that you can just find this little movement of your pelvis, and just letting this belly be free. Okay, so now in our furnace here in our belly, one part that a very an important part about being able to harness this power in the belly is to have a self-image of where the legs begin. So if I stand up, you won't be able to see my face, but I want you to see my pelvis here. Many people think their legs start here, and you can see people, especially old people, walking along, and they're walking along like this, and their pelvis doesn't move. And so this fire in the belly doesn't get to move or be switched on. If you put your hands at the top of your pelvis and slide your hands down, you'll feel a little ridge here. This is where the legs actually begin. So when this time if I'm moving my leg from here, can you see how my whole body moves? My pelvis moves and my shoulders move. So my whole body is involved in that movement. And this is a way to activate this feeling of this fire in your belly. Often we sit in chairs and we kind of, we scrunch up like this and we don't get this opening happening here. So just doing that little movement of swinging your legs is a great movement to do to open up this furnace in your belly. Okay, so now we're going to do a little movement, just placing your hands on your belly here, breathing through your nose, taking a breath down into your belly. And can you feel when you do that and see with my hand that as I do that, my hands come apart. And if you feel it's difficult, because sometimes we have a lot of tension in here, if you just slightly press and push against yourself, you'll get that feeling of how your belly can just open up. So we've got our hands here and we take a breath in. Now, usually in our normal breathing, what happens when we breathe out? This flattens down. But when we sing, we want to activate, it's like doing any exercise, a weightlifter, when he lifts a weight, he goes like he lifts and he goes, ha! Just when he's about to lift, he harnesses this power in the belly. So we're going to do that. We need to do that for singing as well. So we take a breath in. And then as we breathe out, it's like we're making a cow goes moo, but if you make it like a moo with a B, like a vase, moo, and push into your belly, moo, 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 and just invite that tiger in to show you how to roar. Ooh, I got the eye of a tiger, champion dancing through the fire. I am the champion and you're gonna hear me roar. Oh, 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 oh. Okay, so hope you have fun with that and love to hear your comments. And if you think this is useful for you, please share this with your friends. If you want to know more, I'd love you to see my book, Sovereign Woman, Use Your Body and Your Voice to Turn Your Pain into Power. I'll give you a link in my post about where you can get that from. Okay, till next week. Next week we're going to be looking at our rib cage. How do we move the lower ribs to harness the power in the middle of our belly? This is our personal power. Okay, this is Rhonda Olsen from Woman Shine signing off for now.